everybody, welcome back to Q-Tips. We are the Video Store Junkies, and we are back once again to bring you a few selections to watch over the weekend on streaming. And we're going to get right into this, and I will send it over to Zach.
Why, thank you, Renee. Well, the cold weather is setting in, and thankfully, the cold weather is chasing away one of my least favorite parts of summer, and that is, of course, the bugs. But you know what? I thought, let's give bugs one last hurrah. Let's bring them back. So my theme this weekend is bugs. And I thought I'd start off with some of the biggest bugs you can possibly get. And I am, of course, talking about the giant bugs from Paul Verhoeven's 1997 classic sci-fi action film, Starship Troopers. I'm actually I don't think we've recommended this one before, and I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, that's shocking. Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah.
This is an adaptation of a Robert Heinlein book I think was published in the 50s. Actually kind of an interesting movie because on the face of it, and I think when it came out, a lot of people kind of just took it as this goofy, violent sci-fi action film from the director of RoboCop, which it kind of is. But it's kind of interesting because this is all about what happens when you were attacked by outside forces and how you react, and some of the patriotism that goes into that, I guess you could say, and how that patriotism can kind of get twisted, and you find out that the brutality of war is not quite what you expected. This was, like I said, put out in 1997, and so within half a decade, I think it took on new significance in a way. So anyways, I think people appreciate this movie now a little more for what it is. It is a fun sci-fi romp though, and it's got big bugs. Let's face it, that's all that really matters. You got big bugs. You got Casper Van Dien. You got Denise Richards. You got Jake Busey. You get Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean but most importantly, you got Neil Patrick Harris as the psychic that can talk to bugs. It's great. It's a fun movie. Yeah. It's got everything. And this is one of those things you gotta hopefully you're listening to this when the episode drops, as you always should, because apparently this is actually leaving. This is on Netflix. It's leaving on November 1st, so you better watch it this weekend. Although apparently it's also on AMC Plus and DirecTV, so maybe it'll be there a little bit longer. It'll also probably come back because it's always kind of streaming somewhere. So speaking of giant bugs. I'm just kidding. Speaking of things that have taken on more political significance over time, I will pass this over to Renee.
Stop it!
Yeah, you never get to go second. So
that's true.
I'm gonna mess things up here.
See, I specifically went to you so that you could segue to someone else. Oh my god, I love it.
You're welcome.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned, was it Jake Busey? Because we were just watching a movie over this weekend. It is not one of my recommendations. I don't even think I can remember the title of the movie now.
Must have been great.
Yeah. So we were watching the opening credits, and I think it was Luke Busey. I was just like, that's probably just somebody. It was friggin' Gary Busey's son, who was like 12. I don't know. This kid's so young.
This is a second Busey brother?
There isn't another Busey. Oh. He looks just like his dad. It's wild. I'll find a picture.
Okay. Was it Cobweb?
Cobweb, that was it.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll semi-recommend it to you guys. It was good up until the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to know.
And I second that as well.
Yeah. He's second, not finishing that movie. Anyway, but I think up till that point, it was really good. My first recommendation is by director Matthew Goodhue, and it's a fun little romp, and the tagline is so ridiculous. It is, "Don't rush, die slow." That's right. My recommendation is Slaughterhouse.
Yay!
This movie is so goofy. So this young lady has joined a sorority, and she has decided to go for the sorority president. And that's just something you don't do. There is a girl who is already seated. Like you can't just go in and start shaking up the system, but she's going to do it because this, of course, this main girl, she's kind of an ass. She decides that what better way to win over her classmates is by adopting this adorable sloth. And everybody loves sloths.
Ah, a classic blunder.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Little did you know, they are killing machines. And yeah, it's just movie is just so fun and goofy, and I recommend it. And you can watch it on Hulu. And again, that is Slaughterhouse. And on that note, I'll pass it to Bill this time.
Why, thank you. Well, I got no theme. I kind of had a theme, but then I just, an idea popped into my head. And it's like, yeah, I got to go with this. But my theme was going to continue with these portmanteaus, these collection of short films and all. There's so many of them, perfect for Halloween. And here's one that doesn't get a whole lot of credit. It's called Dead of Night, not the classic one from England. This is the one from 1977. It's a Dan Curtis production, the same guy who gave us Trilogy of Terror. And everybody loves Trilogy of Terror because they've forgotten that Trilogy of Terror had, and you might have figured this out from the title, 3 stories. And 2 of them were pretty lame. They all had Karen Black. One of them was about evil twins. Spoiler alert, a short film about evil twins does not have any actual twins in it. I mean, I'm sorry if you're like from another country and have never seen a movie about twins, but there's never actual twins. It's one crazy person who thinks that there's an evil twin, but it's actually them doing it all along. Yeah, you never see them together, and they're arguing with the... yeah, okay, anyway, so there was that. There was another one where she seduces some student. I don't know, maybe she's supposed to be a succubus, but yawn. And then we got the Zuni fetish doll and weren't able to sleep for the rest of the night. And I think they thought this formula really, really works. 2 fairly meh stories, and then one that kicks people in the teeth and sends them home really well. It was a TV movie, so you're already home. Point is, you were not going to get any sleep on that night because of that third one that you were set up for by the lame first 2. Dead of Night follows this perfectly. The first thing is called Second Chance. It's about Ed Begley Jr., and he restores an old car, and he's transported back in time, and absolutely nothing of any interest happens. I've seen this movie like 3 times, and I cannot remember anything about this. I like Ed Begley Jr. I don't know where he is these days, but man, that was a boring story. I might say all these were written by Richard Matheson, who's, a genius. The second one is No Such Thing as a Vampire, and this would have fit in great in one of those, Amicus horror things. It's got Patrick Macnee, who's, he's Patrick Macnee. Watch Elijah Cook Jr. These guys are like a pair of old worn shoes that are going to fit. You smile when you see them. They're going to give it their all. They're making a crappy Dan Curtis short film, but they give it 100%. And it's about a woman who's afraid of vampires, and so her husband brings his friend in to help out. Here's another spoiler alert. These movies always have the worst marriages. I don't know what it is about guys who like to write short stories, but if there's a marriage, it's a bad one. It's really, really bad. People, are trying to kill each other, and then, they come back from the dead, and he chopped up his wife and tried to freeze her, but the parts come out, blah, 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 blah. Just absolute miserable. I don't know what it was like being, at the dinner table. It's like, what did you write about today, dear? What do you think, bitch? Yeah, just miserable. All right, so, and you can sort of see the shock ending coming a mile away, but it's still pretty good. It's okay. And then the third one. Now, so at this point, you're kind of like dozing off. The third one's called Bobby. And I'm not going to give it away because they already give it away. It is, okay. It's about a mother, Joan Hackett, who's very good, whose son Bobby drowned a year ago, and she is using black magic to bring him back. Never a good idea. Never, ever a good idea. And indeed, it goes poorly. And that's all I'm going to say. I do not want to spoil this for you. But if you, perchance, are inspired to go out and find the videotape of this, trust me, it will be spoiled because the cover of the videotape is literally the last shot in the movie, which is terrifying. When you're watching it, it's great. But you've been prepped for it because now it's this, my God, who would do that? You don't make a Charlie Chan movie and the cover is him pointing at the butler. It's stupid. They're morons. Watching it now, I still get that little chill going down my spine. The makeup is hokey, but it's really brilliantly set up, and it's good. They remade this. I think they did like a sequel to Trilogy of Terror, and they reshot Bobby, and they didn't do as good a job. You know, the simplicity, the kind of crudeness of it. I love these old TV movies. They've got a soft look. They just have a look. You could tell they were filmed not for widescreen, but for a square TV composition. There's just and they can't show extreme violence or extreme sex. There's just something, a quality that as soon as you see it, you're like, well, I'm watching a 1970s TV movie. Get the Jiffy Pop popcorn, sit around with the family. We only had 3 channels, and this is the one we voted for that night. Really brings home some nostalgia. So that's Dead of Night. Close your eyes, grab it, put it in a brown paper bag. I'm willing to bet the DVD, if there is one. You know what? You could probably find it. I'm almost sure you can find it on YouTube. Oh, wait. Where can you find this? Hold on. I actually looked this up. It's on... Oh, no. It's on Tubi, and that's all it's on. Yay, Tubi.
Yay.
And Begley Jr. actually just published a book earlier this month. Yeah, it's like he's got a memoir out. So.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
It just seems like he was everywhere, and then he just sort of, you know, I mean, these people, for all I know, there's some long-running TV show that I've never heard of that's now in its 16th season, and he's the star. There's so much out there now. People can disappear. You know, it used to be they were either dead or, you know, at Branson, Missouri or something, but I don't know. I always liked him. He was the Invisible Man in Amazon Women on the Moon, which was one of the funnier bits in that largely unfunny movie. But anyway, that's that. And I send this off to my good friend, Paul.
Why, thank you, Bill. Bill, you and I are actually have quite a bit in common with this next movie. Renee slightly a bit, but you and I definitely.
Uh-oh.
Because, you know, you and I are cat
Old.
people.
Oh, that's...
When we're sexually
Womp
aroused,
womp.
we turn into panthers. Oh, wait.
Wait, huh? What?
So, Cat People from 1942, currently showing on HBO Max and the Turner Classic Movies. So this is really like one of the classic, very subtle. In fact, some people complain it's too subtle horror films. It's by producer Val Lewton and director Jacques Tourneur. Simone is plays a young Serbian woman who falls in love, and she's afraid that if she consummates her marriage, that she will turn into a panther and kill her husband. And so therefore their marriage is not consummated, and
Not a lot of
things
laughs.
happen, and it's a lot of laughs. And the husband has a female coworker he gets a little close with, and so it's what's really cool is it's like I said, the scares are great, but very kind of subtle in it. And this was the birth of what was called the Lewton bus. So the producer Val Lewton, there's a scene where a person's walking along. She's walking along. You think she's being stalked by possibly a panther, and all of a sudden, big loud noise, jump scare, and it's a bus that pulls up next to her. And so it's like sort of like one of the original jump scares. So he kind of used that technique later in other films he produced. Fantastic movie. They remade it 40 years later, and all subtlety was thrown completely out the window.
That's
actually
true.
we're about
But
a year late.
I just wanted to point out that the remake did have something that I think the original had surprisingly little of, which is nudity from Nastasha Kinski. So they really fixed that.
True.
I thought you were going to say Ed Begley Jr. because he's in that too.
He is. He
Well,
is.
there you go.
Yeah.
He's
wow,
very disarming. He has a very memorable scene.
So it's anyway, but I'm not recommending that one. I'm recommending the one from 1942.
Yeah.
And it's currently playing on HBO Max and Turner Classic Movies. And speaking of, I think the only one of us that isn't a cat person, if I'm not mistaken, I will pass this to Zach.
Let's get back to the bugs, because that was my theme this week. And my second pick for this week features some of the creepiest, crawliest bugs of all. That's right, I'm talking about the earthworm. And for those of you who say, wait, earthworms are not bugs, I say, shut up, nerd. No one cares. They are if I say they are. Anyways, this is a 1976 low-budget movie. It's all about, did I say the name of it? I don't think I did. The name of the movie is Squirm.
Oh,
from
yeah!
1976.
Sorry,
Jeff Lieberman.
I will say this is one of the few movies that actually does coincidentally actually kind of makes me squirm because worms don't actually creep me out, and I don't know what it is about this movie. Maybe it's just the fact that there are literal tons of worms in it. But yeah, so this is the timely that classic story of a bunch of worms get I guess electrocuted, and somehow it makes them feral and want to kill people. I know we've heard it 1,000 times, but yeah. So this is a super low budget movie. I think a lot of the actors in this movie may have never been in any other movie. In fact, I was looking up at IMDb, and like two of the main stars, like their pictures are just from this movie. So I think that means that they were probably never in anything else, or hardly anything else. But anyways, yeah, it's kind of a gross movie, and there aren't a lot of movies that really gross me out, but this one got me. So even if you're not grossed out or afraid of worms, check this one out, and maybe you too will be kind of grossed out. And Squirm is playing, of course, as always, on Tubi, and is also on Pluto TV and Freevee. And speaking of things that were made feral when they got electrocuted, I will pass this over to Renee.
It's true. It was a tough time. So, I try to do a theme whenever I can. So I thought, well, let me just see what else this Matthew Goodhue has directed. And I found one other movie that was online, and it is called Whoa. Not like whoa, but like woe is me, whoa. Okay, if I had told you it was by the same director, you would probably not believe me. This movie has a completely different tone. It's a slow burn. I think it could be a little bit of an auditory nightmare. There's a lot of phone ringing. There's just a lot of noise. And I guess I should actually tell you about the movie. This movie is about a couple of siblings, and they're getting together to deal with their father's belongings about a year after he passed. And during all of this, they uncover some secrets that he has.
Whoa.
Yeah, who would have thought? And so through this whole movie, of course, you're going to see their grieving processes and how that impacts them differently, and how the loss impacts them differently. And they're also being followed around by this like super creepy cloaked figure who really is kind of creepy. So here's the thing. The thing is, I didn't actually finish the movie. Yeah, but I'm intrigued enough to want to know how it ends. I really want to know like what the secret is. I feel like it's probably going to be pretty decent. At least I hope it is. If it's not, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
Renee, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Were there twins in the movie?
No twins.
Well, then I have no
twins.
idea how it ended. If there had been, I would have been able to tell you.
If only there were. God. So, yeah. So I, typically a slow burn, I don't always get drawn in on those, but I found this one to be fairly intriguing. Yeah, it's just kind of interesting. I think that part maybe intrigues me as well. Anyhow, this movie is called Whoa, WOE, and you can find that on Amazon or Tubi, of course, or Roku or Plex or Reveal. What the frick is that?
It's this week's new streaming service.
Yeah.
Check it out. Official sponsor of the Video Store Junkies. if they send us a check.
That's right.
That's right.
$1. Anyhow. Hello, it's me, Renee, from the future. So I finished watching the movie. Maybe you should watch Cobweb. It's on Hulu. It's not a bad movie. I didn't get the payoff I was looking for. I would say if you're not feeling it about half hour in, you could probably just dip, maybe skip to the end. Yeah. Okay, bye. So on that note, I will pass this over to Bill.
Why, thank you. So I was going to do another movie, but then, I don't know, something just sort of flashed into my head and reminded me, I've always been fascinated by, there's a lot of people who have talent. There's a lot of talented people in the world. And one of the nice things about social media is that we're able to see this and they can share it. And I'd say a lot of the folks out there have talent. Genius, okay, that's pretty rare. Just enough that when they come along, they need to be nurtured and celebrated, and because it's not always easy to be a genius. But talent without genius, I think, is the default expectation, and that's fine. But every now and then, there are those who have genius but no talent. And that is so rare. That's an Ed Wood kind of thing, where it's actually, the awfulness is compelling. And now that it's Halloween, it just reminded me of one of my favorite songs, It's Halloween by the Shags. And I just want to play just a little bit. See, Paul, I knew you would know it. I knew. So here it is, the Shags. Now, before I play it, let's talk a little about the Shags. 3 sisters, Dot, Helen, and Betty, I think, were the 3. They, I don't know why they decided to make songs, because here's the thing. None of them could play an instrument. And they did not know how to play instruments that they didn't realize that their instruments were out of tune. So even if they could play them, it would have sounded bad. But the combination of not being able to play them and out of tune is amazing. Let me just read what Wikipedia has to say, because I think they summarize it. Although the Shags attempted to write traditional pop songs, they instead created unconventional music that many found unpleasant. They were not aware that their music was unusual. They used no coherent chord progressions and played cheap guitars that were unintentionally out of tune. Their melodies, sung in unison, appear random. Helen, the drummer, was often detached from her sister's playing and instead just played rudiments she recalled from school drum lessons. It's like 3 people locked in 3 different rooms trying to play the same song, but they can't hear the others. Dot wrote the lyrics based on her experiences, such as the disappearance of her cat Foot and her...
Oh, yeah, my pal Foot.
My pal Foot, and her longing for straight hair. I mean, how many songs have been written about a woman's longing for straight hair? Okay, so let me just play a little bit of one of my favorites. It's Halloween. Let's see, I gotta see if this will work.
It's Halloween, it's Halloween, it's time for scares, it's time for screams. It's Halloween, it's Halloween. The ghosts will spook, the spooks will scare. Why even Dracula will be there. It's time for games, it's time for fun, not for just one, but for eight.
Genius.
Oh my God.
Absolute genius. They're all like that. I just love the sister on the drums just in the back, like she's trying to hit a roach that's crawling across. I mean, absolutely amazing. And here's the thing. It's easy to mock folks like this and make fun of them and all, but especially when you see the way the world is going and everything, what we need is people's got to stop being self-conscious. If you want to dance, go ahead and dance, even though it looks like you look like a ninja that's walked into a spider web and is being attacked by wasps. Who cares? Who cares what other people think? Just get out there and dance. You want to sing songs and you can't sing. That has not stopped a lot of successful people. Just go out there and do it. You want a podcast? Yeah, you want a podcast, even though only one out of the group is actually on the ball and has to call up the other 3 and say, hey, we're on tonight. And they all are like, sorry, Renee. Go and do it. Just do whatever you want. Do whatever. Just get out there and do it. And maybe you can be like the Shags. I mean, they broke up a long time ago. They only made a couple of albums. One of them is called Better Than the Beatles. Oh,
no.
I hope that the men in our armed forces have the balls that these 3 sisters did to call that album Better Than the Beatles. But they're still being talked about today. Remember Mark Gormley? I mean, there's a few folks out there. They're not good, but they worm their way into your head and you will never forget them. You will never forget them. Grammy Award winners wish that they had the longevity of these. There's something compelling about them. It's not just that they're bad. There's a lot of bad stuff and you never think about it again. I don't know. There's an innocence. There's a sadness to it. There's a genius there. It's a different kind of genius. And is it good? No, in no way, shape, or form is it good. But is that important?
So Bill, do you have a movie that ties in with this?
No, see, this is just Bill explaining all of my recommendations up until now.
Exactly. Okay, here's the movie. Go on YouTube and put in The Shags, 2 G's. And Apparently, I don't know if it's in the public domain or what. I don't know if music ever can fall in the public domain in someone's lifetime, but they're there and you can listen to it. Make your own video. Go ahead. Just take your cat and play with him and videotape it. And you've got the video for my friend Foot Foot. The Shags are great. As far as I know, no one has made a movie about the Shags. They did make a movie about that really untalented singer back in the, like the 20s or so, who would rent out Carnegie Hall and she would sing, and she was so terrible that it would sell out because people wanted to watch and see how bad it was and just realize she thought she was great. And in a way, she was great. So, no, it's not a movie, but I just want to recommend it. And just the idea of just go out there and write your book, make your songs, dance away, do whatever. Just go out there and create. Create. The universe is falling into entropy, and every creation is just a little bit of a kickback, just pushing it off for another microsecond. And that's something. Maybe that's what I review. And I will, on that philosophical note, I will send it to someone who's probably going to recommend some movie about a turkey puppet or whatever. And that's Paul.
Oh my God, you're surprisingly close. But yeah. No, I'm actually recommending it. It was filmed in Statesville, North Carolina. I'm recommending one I've been waiting to. I have it on DVD, but I've been waiting to see it show up on stream. Finally show up on stream. It's The Boneyard from 1991.
Oh,
this is a wonderful little horror comedy gem that I swear not many people know about. Though you might have seen a GIF of sort of towards the ending, and if you watch the trailer, it pretty much summarizes the entire film. It's by writer-director James Cummins.
Does this have Phyllis Diller in it?
You bet! Holy shit!
Oh
it does.
my
It has
God!
Phyllis Diller
Holy God!
Without a wig, which was she agreed to be in the movie without a wig, which is amazing because she always wore wigs.
Yeah,
it's got Phyllis Diller and Norman Fell.
Phyllis
Diller and Norman Fell. And it is a bizarre little horror comedy where you've got a psychic who is having the cops trying to help track down I think a child killer, and they track it to a mortuary, but there's these 3 mummified children there, but the mortician insists no, these are demons that must be sacrificed to. Anyway, bad shit happens because people don't pay attention.
No,
but bizarre shit happens. I mean, it takes a while. I think it has some of the creepiest undead characters in it, and then it has also some of the most hilarious and bizarre ones that are very, either puppets or someone in a big foam suit. That is just amazing. The ending is fantastic. I think one of the posters spoils my favorite bit at the end, but favorite monster, but that's okay because it's still worth watching. It is bizarre. It is funny. It's got Phyllis Diller. What more do you want? She has, let's just put it this way. It's a little bit of a spoiler. She has a pet poodle, and we're just going to leave it at that because the poodle's important. Yeah, I love this movie. It is so much fun because it just goes so balls to the wall, but it also, again, I think, earlier on, the zombie mummified children are creepy as fuck. So it's great. And apparently, when they were doing the special effects, it destroyed part of the set with a fire. So there you go. So that's The Boneyard. And where's it playing, Paul? Why, it's playing on Amazon Prime and folks, where's it playing?
Tubi.
So speaking of, wow, we have nobody to pass it to. So. Can
I request that we go back to our old format
closing.
and force Bill to sing us out on a Shag song?
Okay.
Oh, he's got to do My Pal Foot Foot.
Oh, well, I don't.
Except he'll do it too well, though. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah, that is here's the problem: is I don't know the melody
Did they?
to My Pal Foot Foot, and neither did they. So this may work.
We can, yeah.
Let me just look up the lyrics because I haven't committed these to memories. I'm going to give this a college try, and then I got to look up and actually listen to it, see how close I got. I'm going to do it in the inspired by the Shags. My pal's name is Foot Foot. Foot Foot. He always likes to roam. My pal's name is Foot Foot. Foot Foot. I never find him home. I go to his house, knock at his door, People come out and say, Foot Foot don't live near here no more. My pal Foot Foot, Foot Foot always likes to roam. My pal Foot Foot, Foot Foot, now he has no home. Where will Foot Foot go? What will Foot Foot do? Oh, Foot Foot, I wish I could find you. It goes on for quite a while.
That was a little too lyrical there, Bill.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
tragic.
I was trying not to, but you know.
For the weekend of October 27th, Bill recommended Dead of Night, available on Tubi, and The Shags on YouTube. Paul recommended Cat People on HBO Max and Turner Classic Movies, and The Boneyard, available on Prime Video, Tubi, and Plex. I recommended Slaughterhouse, available on Hulu, and Woe, available on Prime Video, Roku, Tubi, Plex, and Reveal. Zachary recommended Squirm, available on Tubi, Pluto, and Freevee, and Starship Troopers, available on Netflix, AMC Plus, and DirecTV.
My pal's name is Foot Foot. I never find him home.
I was scrolling through the Wikipedia article. So apparently they were formed because of their father was their manager.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and oh god, hold on, I just
What a
lost it.
supportive dad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Just to tell you about the Shag's dad, in 1973, Helen, who by this time was 28 years old, a grown-ass woman, she secretly got married, and he chased her husband with a shotgun. After the police intervened, Helen left the family home to be with her husband, but rejoined the band later because you can't let family tips get in the way of art.
Oh,
this
God.
has great movie written all over it.
I swear the first time I heard about the Shags and like listened to stuff, I was fully convinced it was just a hoax and it was a gag article.
Right.
I was like, oh no, this is like people with bad wigs, and this is a gag article. I'm like, oh wait, and then you're like, wait, no,
Oh
yeah,
my
no.
God.
Sorry, I gotta read this. Let me read this other part real quick. Shortly after a 1975 recording session, Austin, who's the father, died of a heart attack at the age of 47. The Shags disbanded and sold most of their equipment. A few years later, Betty and Dot married and moved out, and their mother sold the family house. The new owner became convinced that the house was haunted by Austin's ghost and donated it to the Fremont Fire Department, who burned it down in a firefighting exercise. That's a movie right there.
That's perfect. I bet as a ghost he would say boo like really listlessly and out of tune and not very.
Boo.
Boo. Yeah, no, this is listen. I can see the trailer for this movie. You got these girls and their dad gets them some instruments, and you see them kind of a montage of them learning how to play, and the kids are making fun of them, and their dad's kind of overbearing, but they have their sisterhood and their music, and it just builds up to the point where we finally hear them play, and then it's Halloween. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And the audience in the theater would be like, well, I'm not going to go see that movie. I still think it's a good idea. My pal's name is Foot Foot. He always likes to roam. My pal's name is Foot Foot. I never find him home. I go to his house.